Okay, so now we will solve the next LeetCode SQL problem. Question number 626, exchange seats. And this is a medium category problem. And this is also very easy problem. So if you also want to give a try, click on the SQL schema and you can copy paste all this content and it will help you to create a table and insert some sample records. Okay, so you have one table given seat and you have just two columns, ID and student. Okay, so basically the ID of a student and the name of a student. So you need to write a solution to swap the seat ID of every two consecutive student. If the number of student is odd, the ID of the last student is not swapped, and the result the order by ID in ascending order. Okay, so let's look at the example. So you have input table. We have two columns, ID and student. So ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some student name is given, and you need to swap the seat ID of every two consecutive students. So basically, Abbott and Dorius are at 1, 2. So if you are going to swap both, right? So the Dorius will go above and Abbott will go down, and then Emerson and Green. So both will swap, and James. It is not going to swap because like there are odd number of students. So that is mentioned. If the number of students is odd, the ID of the last student is not swapped, right? And the result of the table ID should be in the ascending order. All right, and yeah, so it's easy. So what we need to do, you need to swap. Basically, instead of about, you have to give the next like value, and for the Doris, you need to read the previous value. So in the Postgres SQL, how you are accessing the next value using the lead function, right? So using the lead function, and how you access the previous value using the lag function, right? That's it. That's the only thing which you have to perform. You need to run the lead and the lag. But here is like some condition, because you need to like swap the consecutive. So once one and two will be swapped. Okay, for abort, maybe you will go with the Darius. For the Darius, you will go with the abort, and for Emerson. So basically, for we will see if the ID is even. If the ID is even, we will see the previous value, and if the ID is odd, we will see the next value. All right. So if I and how you are going to check whether the ID is even or odd. Normally by modulus operator. If its modulus is like, let me show you. So modulus operator normal like even this is the same operator which you use in Python. So you could see if I divide by two, this column one, it will give me 1 0 1 0 1, and the same approach I am going to follow. So what I need select, let's see the output. I need ID and the student. So select ID. Okay, inside of student, I need conditional, right? Conditional. So basically if ID is 1, then grab the next value. Basically, basically if ID is odd, grab the next value. If ID is even, grab the previous value. So I will use the case when id modulus 2. If I am dividing by 2, it is giving 1. If it is 1, if id modulus 2 is 1, then grab the next value. And how to grab the next value? Lead on which column? Lead on student column. Lead is a window function, so we have to use order by id, right? Okay, if id divided by 2 equal to 1, then grab the next value. Else 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 means basically, or you can say it's 0, basically, like because it is anyhow 1 2 3 4 5. Else 0, then grab the previous value. So for previous value we will use the student, and over order by id, right? And from seed. So let's try to run that. Something is wrong. Okay, so we have to use and. Let's try to run that. Okay, you could see. Let me show you, or let me show you all the values star. Okay, so here you have the abort here. Now abort is here. The Doris is here. Now the Doris is here. Emerson is in here. Emerson is here. Green is here. Green is here. And James is here. But you have null. We will fix this anyhow. So uh, and you need a column name as student. So let's give as a student as student. And because now we have two students, so basically you just need ID. That's it. So let me run that again. Okay, now the only thing is you need to fix this, right? Because it is mentioned in the question, if the number of student is odd, the ID of the last student should not be swapped because it's odd fifth. Uh, Even though it is satisfying this condition, but what is the next value? We don't have the next value. That's why it is coming null. So what we will do is in the lead, we can provide the default value. All right. So by default, it is one. All right. By default, it is one. One means just checking the next row. And then we can pass the default value. Okay. What will be the default value? Student. All right. And now let's run that. Okay. Now this value get exchanged, and in the last we are getting James. So let copy paste this and try to execute. Let's run the sample test case. Sample test case is working fine. Let's try to submit it. So our all the 14 test cases has been passed. And there are one more thing here. It is mentioned return the result order by ID in ascending order. So order by ID. You can also like mention that, even though that's just in case like if they are not in the ascending order, even though these are the ascending order, but still if you want to provide that, you can provide that. Okay, so you could see like though it's a medium category question, but uh, before writing the SQL query, we just keep in mind, okay, we need to access the next value. How you are going to access the next value? Using lead function. Okay, we have to access the previous value. We have the previous means lag. All right. Okay, but it should be conditional because if ID is like even, odd, and for conditional we can use the case statement. That's it. So here in this SQL statement we learn case, we learn lead and the lag, another two Windows function. So that's it. That's the end of the video. You can also give a try, and thank you.